Hello, everybody. Brian here for quantlabsnet.com. In this video, I'm going to talk about C++ quant trading systems, building a backtester. So let's talk about that. Hey, if you like these kind of this kind of content, please comment away. I don't care about your experience and what you have to say, good or bad. It's all about engaging. Also, if you even like it better, you can obviously like and subscribe. You hear that every day on YouTube. A lot of people like their YouTube, so I'm always told, yeah, you got to make sure people know that. So, anyways, enough of that. Let's talk about this overall C++ quant trading system. Can you build a backtester from it? Uh, so in this, we're going to talk about some kind of overall guide I can give just verbally, building a robust backtester in C++. I mean, there's a ton of them in Python. That's the beautiful advantage. With Python, you can always use Python as the prototyping, test out your trading ideas, see how they work in Python, and then port it over to C++. Not a bad thing to do. Also, if you plan to do something like this, it helps your career move if you move into the trading world, especially in the high frequency trading. It's up to you. I can't say much. No, a lot of people have their opinions, have their own goals. I can't say and tell them what to do, obviously. So, creating a backtester trade strategies is a tough thing. Okay. I believe there's nothing wrong with building your own things and your own tools. It's for the better, actually. When you go through a lot of these HFT firms and any trading operation, you'll notice that a lot of them will not use third party dependencies, tools, and whatnot. Usually, they'll have a large infrastructure of developers developing their own tools for their own um, internal use, in-house use. So they will build their own backtester for their own needs, depending upon the type of strategies they're wanting to build out, and so on and so forth. And that takes you into they're going to have their own APIs as well. They're going to have their own mathematical libraries as well, in-house in the firms as well. Just how they operate, and the big ones, it's how they do it. So let's talk about the power of backtesting in quant trading. So it is very, very, very important to test a trading idea. I'm not going to get into it where you use 80% of the data for the back test, and then you use the next 20% of that same data set to see the outcome of what your strategy or trading idea uses to validate the strategy, the idea, and at the same time applying some level of risk on the forecast of what you see in your results of your tested data on that trading idea. Uh, so ensuring to have a robust backtesting framework is very critical because that will essentially uh, be a failure or success for your trading results, which obviously boosts your returns. Okay. One of the best backtesters I found, one of the easiest, I could sit here and say Python, but more on a commercial level if you can afford it. MATLAB all the way. Okay, they rule in that space. That's all I can tell you there. So with C++, we know how complicated the language is and why it's used in quantitative finance because it's been around for decades. A lot of the firms have been using it for decades. It's not going anywhere, and their code base that they have is not going anywhere. I've worked in shops, in banks actually, that were still using COBOL from the 60s, and this is like 30, 40 years later. They will not move off of that. Why? Because they don't want to break it, and it works. So the C++ fundamentals for quant trading, there's all the different data structures, algorithms, and object-oriented programming for that. I've talked about that a lot in past videos. You can get all kinds of information. The data structures can always work in whatever you feel, but stay within the realm of what the STL standard template library offers you. Everyone's going to argue till the cows come home, and they're going to split hairs on way to do it. Or they may develop their own data structure or algorithm for their own library. And that's fine. A lot of people do that if they got the time. Now, when it comes to object oriented programming, there's different styles and whatnot. When it comes to HFT firms, they're using a totally different style. And I've said this before, the template meta programming, TMP, that's how they're doing it. And that's kind of maybe you want to follow that same approach. Just saying, if you want a job in one of these firms, get good at it, then they may say, hey, we like what you're doing and we're interested in talking to you about a potential very high paying job. Now, what are the basic data classes to use, functions for storing, manipulating market data? You could use things like floats, integers, decimals, the whole nine yards, but always remember and always use as top of mind that you're trying to do this. There's different ways to do it, but top of mind, if you're trying to do this long term, you want to use efficient data structures and data types for efficiency reasons, and probably stay in that mindset as well when you build these things out as well. So if it's different if you're new to this, but that's what I'd look at. From what I've seen, decimal seems to be what people like, but I could be wrong on that. There's, as I said, efficiency and performance on the optimization is key here in C++, especially when it comes to real-time trading. And that's what the meta template meta programming offers. It's a very complicated way to code, but if you understand it and move into that mindset, you probably will have a totally different view on programming and how they do it. Now, the backtester framework. Obviously, it's going to be modular, object oriented. There's going to be a clear separation from the testing of various strategies. So you have to keep that in mind. What I've seen a lot of HFT shops like, because I've talked to numerous that have started HFT, were wildly successful at it. What I've been told is they're going to be writing their own mathematical libraries. Okay. It's one thing to prototype, but when it's used for production, they're going to write their own mathematical libraries as well. This is just how these people are literally like coding robots. I don't know what they take if they're taking like some kind of uh I'm not promoting it, but they seem to do it. They don't sleep a lot. They could be awake for days on end coding for what they think is best. Implement core functionalities like data loading, order execution, position management, and performance metrics. Oh man, I get a headache just thinking about that. Again, I'm not going to get into any of this stuff because it'll just lengthen my video, which I don't want to do. But those are sort of considerations you need to understand. Again, I'll say data loading, order execution, which is very important, position management, and performance metrics. Performance metrics, you can use whatever you want. Python might be the best because there's nothing to do with your core system. Position management is probably the hardest process in the whole component you'll come across with the order matching and all that. That can be very challenging to write. And that comes back to the order execution as well. Because if you have a system that gets big and you have multiple orders happening, you need to understand the multi-threading and be able to match all the orders, and at the same time in your system be able to watch those orders on the open positions as well. Just a complete haywire of thinking about it. So configuring a back tester is really important. There's a different market data. What type of markets are you wanting to trade in? You have to consider. What's the time frames you want to trade in? And all the different parameters that come with it. You got to consider this. Most people say, oh, I want to trade on the sub-second and data. That's fine. But a lot of people I've seen to go out and develop the trading system, a lot of people fail at it because of the amount of time involvement to complete these type of systems. What I would suggest is just work with the simpler day data or maybe 4 hour time frame. It's easier. And once you get successful with your trading account from that, then you understand how to work with it and then move into the lower frequencies. Just a suggestion out there to make sure that you understand fully um, on what matters here on when you architect these type of systems without failure. That's what we don't want. And I like to finger point to you to make sure you understand what you're getting involved with. It's a very complicated. I hope you're a young person and got lots of time on your hands and you're a single person because there's a lot of personal sacrifice to get this sort of stuff done. So when it comes to backtesting, now here's the key. As I've said, simplicity is what matters. If you try to complicate it by adding in a lot of extra analytical mumbo jumbo stuff. It not only does it slow down your processing, it makes your trading uh, less beneficial. So, from an algorithmic standpoint, as I said, if you're going to use something like Fibonacci or something that's based around Fibonacci, or if you're going to use something like, I don't know, Elliott waves, I mean, these are complex. There's a lot of mechanics that are involved in these type of indicators, and they're very complex. I will tell you, those will lag, guarantee it. But especially if you're on a low frequency. But if you want to be able to do this properly, um, little simple indicators like oscillators, like relative strength indicator, I've not seen it lag a lot. Moving averages are very reliable in all the different types of averages that come with it, simple, exponential, the whole, white, whatever. They may work, but the more complexity you put into the math, it slows it down. Okay, just remember that. So you want to keep it simple. And I'm just giving you some of the more, I don't want to call them technical indicators because that's not what they're not. It's basically math movements, being able to analyze something. And there's different patterns that you can use. I cover it in my course, my futures and options course, to be in that smart money bucket to make real oodles of, we'll say, returns, to make it YouTube safe here, so that you can, instead of wasting time on something, that you get out of the gate faster to profit what you're seeking, and to get a job. Think like how the high frequency trading operations think as well. So we have the back testing results. Don't ever, ever, ever rely on that thinking. When you start to take that, move it into a real live trading environment, that it's going to succeed, because you're probably not going to factor things like unpredictability, like news, volatility, manipulation on your trading. Who knows? I can't say because I'm not behind the scenes. But you always got to look for your strategy performance, your risk and potential profitability, or as they call it, risk and reward. And again, I cover that in the basics, but it's long and it's wide and it's deep on what I put out there in this course that I put out with a sampling source code in C++ and using JavaScript for the visualization to put you into the right mindset to think how the HFT make large returns. Okay, this is so critical people understand, so they don't go down the path of wasting their time and basically failing and thinking, woe tide me, I can't develop a system, because you're going, I hate to tell you, probably the wrong way, because there's so much hype out there, and it's usually from people that don't even know how to code it at all. They may know how to code basic stuff like in Python and Hello World, but to get really deep and understand a trading system is another matter. So, what are some of the advanced backtesting techniques? Well, if you watch the interviews that I've put together years ago on my channel at Quant Labs, you'll look for the two folk that kind of popularizes. There is the Dr. Ernie Chan is a good person to watch, read his books to understand that. I've done some early presentations with Ernie as well, so look for that on my channel. He's the one who's really popularized, and with his early books, um, uh, in 2008, as far back as then, that have popularized how backtesting works using things like Kelly criterion and whatnot. And I might add, to self promote myself, he puts a acknowledgement on a lot of the technical that I've given him to write his next set of versions, the second, I believe, a third book as well. So kudos for me on that, because I helped him. And he lives very close to me, 2 hours away. Good guy, and he knows his stuff. Okay. So make sure you read his book, see the early interviews I've done outside of what he's currently doing as well, just to put that out there. Now, on the walk forward analysis, I've also talked to the person that really came up with that concept, Robert Pardo. He's the person that popularized the walk forward analysis. He's the one that made it. I don't know if he invented it, but he's an early automated algo trader back in the days with Goldman Sachs that put him on the roadmap to where he's at today. I've got an interview with him on it as well, and he'll talk about how he did that. Again, or Bob Pardo, Pardo. Then there's also the Monte Carlo simulation stress testing as well. I cannot tell you, I've seen some amazing um, I don't know. Well, they're pretty well obsolete exchange simulators, so you can build out a trading idea, run it in an environment in an exchange simulator, and watch your trading strategy in, unfortunately, it's Java, and watch it trade against robots that you can create or real human traders in these uh, simulators. They're very complex, but they exist, and that's a better way to do the trading for both Monte Carlo along with the stress testing as well. Okay, just my weird brain working to give you unique tips to help you succeed here, career or not. How to optimize the strategy parameters using machine language, algorithms, or optimization. Let me tell you, I worked with this stuff before it became popular. And if you really want to understand it from an easier perspective, let me tell you. Again, I make references to MATLAB for this. It's brilliant how it does it. And because it's more high quality on the commercial end, you'll find you'll get better results, faster understanding using a tool like MATLAB and the appropriate toolboxes that come with it to really get a better appreciation instead of working with some somebody else online as a suggestion. Always work with what the commercial firms are using. And believe me, you won't hear about it, but MATLAB's used a lot. Okay, and it's a good tool to learn how to do things like machine learning and genetic algorithm. They've got scripts that show you how to use this properly, and even specifically for trading as well. Showcase the advantages C++, implementing these advanced backtesting. It's basically about speed and efficiency. To build these out, they are complicated. I'm not going to lie, but if you want to do it the smarter way, the commercial way, a lot of people like their open source, but it comes with limitations on the quality of the code and the results and the speed to learn. That's where the MATLAB comes in. Yeah, it's pricey if you want to go into production, but you can learn as a student really on the cheap. A place to go as a suggestion. That's all I can bring to the table on this video. If you like what I have, you know what to do. If you have an opinion on it, go ahead and comment. If you even like it more, you can subscribe. And if you like it even more, go off of YouTube and go to my website, quantlabsnet.com. Make sure you subscribe to my newsletter. Get yourself a free ebook on C++ and the components that go with an HFT system, high frequency trading. That's all for free. And on top, if you want to talk to me, I'll put the link in as well. If you want to talk to me and got questions on how to do this, I only have so much limited ability to for each person, but for now, I'm willing to try it out. If people have some simple questions, I could try to help in limited ways. Leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. And as I say, comment, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Quant Labs. Over now.